Okay.
Let me know when I should share my screen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome into our webinar. We're going to wait here for a few minutes while everyone joins. We have quite a few people today who are going to be here, so we will just hold tight for a minute. So thanks for joining. Oh, Ryan, I see you. Wendy, Mackenzie, nice to see everybody on the call. If you wouldn't mind, while we're waiting here, use that chat and let me know where you're dialing in from. I always love to see where everyone's at. I know Ryan and I are in Michigan. I know that one.
Mhm.
Oh, and Wendy. So that's pretty cool. We're gonna get started here. Oh, Virginia. Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. Pull up my things here. California. We were just talking about California, Robert. All good things, by the way. All good things. Mississippi, Little River, Michigan, another Michigan. I love it. I love how whenever we have these webinars, we have representation from like the entire country, which I just think is so cool. And one of the reasons I love working for this company because I literally get to work with tribes from across the country. So it's awesome. Hi, Cheryl. It's a good deal. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get started. Oh, Texas. We'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm part of the TribalHub team, and we are here with our webinar with ESET and SHI, AI Cybersecurity Protecting Tribal Communities. This is going to be a super great session. I'm really excited to get things started. Jesus and Kayla are going to be your hosts for today. During the presentation, make sure you use the chat if you have any questions. We will absolutely make sure we get to those before the end of the session. You can also use the Q&A feature on the very bottom of the Zoom panel, and we'll get those also and make sure that, that those get answered. A couple of things to think about while you are going through this webinar today. That's a couple of learning objectives is understanding how AI is reshaping the cybersecurity landscape by identifying AI-driven attack methods and defensive capabilities. And I believe that you will also be privileged to hear a story from a case study, rather, from a fellow tribe. So with that, I am going to turn things over to Jesus and Kayla. Again, don't forget to use use the chat if you have any questions. And all right, enjoy the webinar. And Jesus and Kayla, it's all you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today with us. So I'm Kayla Banuelos, Product Marketing Manager at ESET North America, and I have Jesus Lopez with me. He's one of our senior sales engineers. And today's event is sponsored by ESET and SHI, our strategic partner. If we go to the next slide, the agenda for today is going to look like us talking about AI's impact on the threat landscape. We're going to talk about leveraging AI to bolster a proactive defense, ESET's use of AI. So we'll cover this a little bit, but if you're interested in more details on how ESET covers different aspects of AI threats and security, we can get into that during the Q&A section at the end. And if we go to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about who we are. So, for those of you who don't know who ESET is, ESET North America is a global cybersecurity company that exists at the intersection of people and technology. We have 11 research and development centers, and we're actually expanding this within the next year. We have 850 technology experts that work in those various research and development centers around the globe. And then in terms of what we do on a daily basis, what those technology experts do daily is they're evaluating over 750,000 new and unique suspicious samples daily. 2.5 billion URLs are scanned daily and analyzed, and 60 million metadata records daily as well. And we're a significant contributor to the MITRE attack evaluation process. If we go to the next slide, we've got a couple really notable alliance and partnerships that I like talking about. First is the Google App Defense Alliance, which is us being a founding member that ensures the safety of the Google Play Store. So for those of you who use Google Play Store, ESET is behind scanning that technology and making sure it's safe. Intel Threat Detection Technology is an integration into ESET's multi-layered cybersecurity technology suite, and this is for both our consumer and business product lines. We're also a member of the Joint Cyber Defense Collaborative led by CISA, and we are proudly participants since 2015 in the NATO's Lock Shields. We go to the next slide. I like kicking us off with some opening questions, so feel free to open up the chat. I'll be monitoring that on both screens. I'm going to kick us off with a couple facts to get our minds going. So, how common are AI attacks? If we go to the next slide, researchers have found that over 16% of breaches involved attackers using AI. And while that number of incidents remains low, we are starting to see more attackers using Gen AI to both refine and scale their phishing campaigns and launch other social engineering attacks. Most of these breaches focus on human manipulation that Jesus is going to get into a little bit later, through phishing or deepfake attacks. So hearing this is no surprise. We're already reading about all of these security issues in the headlines and many different blogs, LinkedIn, wherever you get your news. But what's important is the most of the AI related security incidences led to compromised data and operational disruption, and that's what should matter the most to everybody in this room here. If we go to the next slide. This next question is, are AI-driven breaches a technology challenge or a readiness gap? And before we jump, I do want to see what your guys' answers are. If you have a couple seconds to throw some answers into the chat. Do you think AI-driven breaches are a technology challenge or a readiness gap? No pressure. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't believe AI is the problem, but rather our response. So, of the 13% of organizations that reported AI-related breaches, 97% of them lacked proper AI access controls. So, that's not really a surprise. The alarming part was that fewer than 10% were unaware that they had been compromised this way. So moving forward, it is safe to predict that companies will need to adopt stronger AI controls as we continue to see a surge in attacks and breaches driven by AI. As much as many of us are probably sick of hearing AI, it's something that we'll need to adopt stronger AI controls for. If we go to the next slide, how long do you think it takes to identify and contain a data breach? This one usually surprises me. We go to the next slide. The answer is 241 days. This number actually dropped compared to previous year, which was at 258 days on average. And actually that it has been growing up until last year. This is something that my team and I on the product, we're technical product marketers on my team. We really stay close attention to this stat. Last year, 2025 at RSAC, I noticed that the theme and like what everyone was talking about was AI automation, how to implement different AI capabilities into, the vendors that you're looking for, cybersecurity vendors. So from last year to this year, seeing this number drop a little bit is, for me, goes to show that companies are doing better at implementing the right tools and investing in more AI and automation. And if we go to the next slide, this is a fact from the cost of a data breach report that IBM put out last year. Implementing AI and automation reduced the time to identify and contain a breach by an average of 80 days. And that's really what matters to businesses. If we go to the next slide, Jesus is going to take over and talk about AI's profound impact to the threat landscape.
Thank you, Kayla. Now let's talk about what attackers are actually doing with AI. So one of the biggest things we're seeing is scale. AI is making it easier faster and cheaper to launch attacks. Phishing emails, they used to be easy to spot. Now they really look legit. Clean grammar, personalized, contextual, and honestly, tools like ChatGPT have raised the baseline for everyone, including attackers. We're seeing a massive increase in the following. So 1,265% increases in malicious phishing emails, 703% rise in credential phishing in the second half of 2024, and 1,760% surge in business email compromise attacks. So I was reading a report online. It's going to be called the State of Cybercrime. It identified that no less than 2.86 billion compromised credentials, including passwords and session cookies that enable 2FA bypass, were stolen. Shockingly, Business Cloud and authentication services accounted for more than 30% of this exposed data across 2025. And it's not just the mainstream tools. There are AI tools built specifically for cybercrime. Language models like FraudGPT, WarnGPT, Darkbird, these are all subscription-based tools that help generate phishing campaigns, fake sites, and even malware assistance. So the barrier to entry is pretty much dropping down. You don't need to be highly skilled anymore to launch a pretty effective attack. All right, and AI is also improving success rates. Attackers are using it to automate attacks, adapt in real time, avoid detection. So instead of just a static attack, we're seeing more dynamic, evolving threats. And while AI isn't fully replacing human attackers, it's making them way, way more efficient. Another big one is disinformation. AI is making it incredibly easy to create fake content at scale, fake images, fake voices, deep fake videos. I actually created a Google fake website. I want to run an attack and then see how our XDR solution detected it. So AI made it much, much easier without me having any coding experience. And the scary part is that most people can't really tell what's real anymore. So this is becoming a huge risk, not just for individuals, but for organizations and even entire communities. This slide right here is really important because when we talk about cyber attacks, we're no longer just talking about stolen data or locked computers. We're now talking about attacks that can impact the physical world. With critical infrastructure becoming more connected through industrial IoT, attackers have more opportunities to target systems that control real equipment, things like power, manufacture, utilities, and transportation. And with AI, that risk becomes even more serious. Attackers can use AI to move faster, find weaknesses, and potentially manipulate systems that were never designed to face this level of cyber threat. The scary part is that it's not just theory anymore. The FBI has already warned about the real-world attempts to infiltrate industrial IoT systems using generative AI, with the goal of overriding physical systems and damaging essential infrastructure. So, the message is simple. Cybersecurity is no longer just about protecting computers. It's about protecting the systems that keep businesses, communities, and critical services running. ESET's malware lab discovered last year the first known AI-powered ransomware. We named it PromptLock, and it marked a significant milestone in the cybersecurity industry. This new type of ransomware uses Gen AI to execute attacks. It runs AI models to dynamically generate malicious Lua scripts in real time. During the infection stage, the AI generates scripts that can scan systems, encrypt files, and exfiltrate data. This means that the ransomware can adapt its behavior based on the environments deployed in. And there's really no favorites here. This malware is compatible with Windows, Linux, and Mac OS as well. The most recent discovery that we had uncovered the first known case of Android malware of using Gemini AI for context-aware user interface manipulation. The prompt spy malware uses AI to analyze the device screen, abuse accessibility service to block uninstallation, capture lock screen data, and record video. The main purpose of this type of malware is pretty much to deploy a built-in VNC module, and then it gives the attacker remote access to the victim's device. So on the positive note, both of these malware were found to be proof of concepts and not an active threat. After the discovery of prop lock was made public, NYU School of Engineering, they confirmed that they were responsible for creating the code as part of a research project. ESET has since published the technical details of prompt lock just to raise awareness, illustrate the potential harms of AI-powered malware. And while we haven't yet seen any samples of prompt spy dropper or payload in our telemetry, we cannot really discount the possibility of prompt spy existing in the wild. Again, while these samples were proof of concepts, it signals a shift for AI and will magnify the scale of speed of cyber attacks. They're going to be more stealthier and then really harder to detect for defenders. Honestly, having the right cybersecurity partner during this transformation is crucial to defend your tribe against tomorrow's AI-powered attacks. Now, I would like to pass it back to Kayla so she could talk about how tribal communities are being impacted. Kayla, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Jesus. If we move to the next slide, in preparing for this webinar, I bucketed the challenges that tribal communities face into these four things, but I'm interested if there's anything top of mind to you all attending today, please drop it in the chat because I am interested in learning more. A large part of what I do is research, so that way we're able to market our product effectively to those who need it. So starting with the first one, funding and talent shortages. So in a report conducted last September by Tribal ISAC, I noticed that more than 60% of tribes allocate less than 20% of their IT budgets to security. And it's largely due to not receiving grant funding for 2025. So this creates a huge disproportionate in cybersecurity gaps. Second is legacy systems and limited resources. This increases successful attacks and it can lead to it could lead to longer outages and higher recovery costs. And in fact, if businesses are trying to get cyber insured or cyber warranty included in their offering, so insurance or warranty for cybersecurity, if the vendor that's backing you by through the insurance or the warranty notices that you're on legacy outdated systems that are not being patched within a certain number of days, usually it's 30 or 60 days from when the cycles release, like the update cycle, your claim can get denied. So this one really stood out to me here. The third is the rising attack sophistication, which marks a turning point where machine intelligence has become both the greatest threat and the most critical line of defense in digital security. And then lastly is ransomware continues to be the number one threat to tribal and public sector organizations. And if we move to the next slide, there's a lot of sources here to back this up. So, the FBI has publicly warned that U.S. tribal nations are increasingly targeted by ransomware groups, citing limited in-house cyber investigation capabilities, constrained IT staffing, and insufficient security tooling as key risk factors. The ransomware groups deliberately target organizations where detection, response, and forensic capabilities are limited, knowing that recovery timelines are longer and operational disruption creates significant pressure to pay ransoms. The 2025 Tribal Hub publication, The Pulse, reports that the majority of tribes allocate less than 100,000 annually to cybersecurity programs. Even more concerning, that data shows that tools and technology receive one of the smallest portions of the overall IT budget. So addressing this gap requires not only increased funding, but strategic investment in layered defenses. And I think that's the key here is if funding is an issue, then you need to switch and be strategic in your investment in the offering. So looking into things like managed detection response, how quick does the vendor do the MDR service for you? Incident readiness planning and board level cybersecurity governance. And if we move to the next slide, this is the case study that we have. So it's a customer story, and we're working on more, right? That we'll have published on our case studies online. So this one I titled Raising the Standards for Tribal Security. So the reality here was this customer needed a higher standard for protecting tribal data. Their existing tools allowed threats to reach devices first and allowed threats to stay dormant, so dormant malware within their system. The turning point is that in conversations with ESET and doing, a trial with us and putting us to the test against real threats, they were able to notice right away that ESET stopped the threats instantly before they even reached further devices. So the impact was no more threats landing, period, no hidden malware risk, stronger protection for community data and services, and confidence in technology and trusted partnership. So a quote from this study was, allowing threats to land on our devices, even dormant, wasn't acceptable. ESET stopped them before they even got there. Right now, we're working with over 20 TribalHub members, and that's growing. And so, yeah, we're definitely excited to talk to you guys today. If you have any further questions after going through this next section that Jesus is covering on how to leverage AI to bolster a proactive defense.
Thank you, Kayla. Now let's go ahead and flip the script because AI isn't just helping attackers, it's also one of our biggest advantages on defense. First up, we are using AI for real-time attack detection to pretty much increase your security defenses. AI enhances threat scanning and sandboxing to deliver real-time attack detection through advanced identification and behavior analysis of suspicious code. It can also resolve minor alerts without the interaction of the security analysts. AI models also help streamline response activities by prioritizing detected events and highlighting the most pressing issues. AI can also leverage previously collected telemetry to dynamically map interconnected events and then delivering actionable insights for rapid response and then post-incident investigation. And with the help of trained AI and large language models, modern email security solutions can better identify spam and phishing attacks by analyzing anomalies in language, tone, formatting, and even graphics. All right, next, we're seeing AI improving threat hunting capabilities. AI models enable faster identification of threat across endpoints and networks. AI also mimics human neural patterns to detect anomalies in system behavior, credential abuse, monitor privileged access, and lateral movement in real time. Built-in AI models also improve detection accuracy and reduce the false positives, which in turn reduces the burden on security teams by automating complex analysis. And lastly, deep threat correlation combines endpoint telemetry, user identity, email, and network telemetry to determine root cause analysis. Another important piece is turning intelligence into something actionable and easy to consume. Security teams are constantly flooded with alerts and threat data, which can quickly lead to alert fatigue. The goal here is to help distill all of that information into meaningful insights that pretty much teams can actually act on. It also helps optimize configuration using AI-driven recommendations while improving user awareness through better training material and easy-to-understand infographics. The goal is to give organizations clear visibility, reduce noise, and help teams make faster and smarter decisions. So one of the biggest challenges organizations face today is the cybersecurity skill gap. Teams are dealing with more alerts, more tools, and more complex threats than ever before. That's why automation and simplification are so important. So instead of manually connecting the dots, usually the platform can summarize the full attack chain sequence and then provide a context security analysts need to investigate and respond faster. At the end of the day, it's about reducing complexity, improving efficiency, and then helping security teams focus on what matters the most. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about MDR services and why it has become so important for organizations today. So one of the biggest challenges security teams face is alert fatigue. There's just too much noise coming from too many tools. MDR helps reduce that noise by filtering out the false positives and then focusing the alerts that actually matter the most. Another major benefit is faster detection and response times. Instead of waiting for someone to manually connect the dots, MDR uses AI and automation to correlate signals across different security tools and then endpoints in real time. That means that threats can be identified and then responded much faster. AI also helps automate a lot of the repetitive SOC tasks, which allows providers to scale their services and then deliver a 24/7 coverage without the constantly increasing of headcount. Analysts can spend less time on manual triage and more time on focusing on critical threats. At the end of the day, all of this helps the overall financial impact of a breach. Faster detection, faster containment, and then less downtime can make a huge difference for organizations trying to minimize risk and then recovery costs. This is really why, or the reason why AI-driven MDR services are becoming such a critical part of modern cybersecurity strategies. All right, now when we talk about ESET and AI, it's really important to understand that AI for us isn't something that is new or just a trend that we recently added. Over 3 decades, ESET has focused on building AI-powered cybersecurity in a responsible and practical way. Our philosophy has always been centered around safety, transparency, and actually benefiting the user and not just adding AI for marketing purposes. What really sets ESET apart is that our approach is grounded in deep technical expertise and real-world security experience. We understand that the stakes involving when protecting businesses, users, and then critical environments. We also recognize the social and ethical responsibility that comes with AI. Instead of just chasing every possible threat with unreliable detection methods, we focus on practical protection that blocks attack vectors effectively and then protects the largest number of possible users. And finally, ESET does take a multi-layer approach to AI. We combine multiple AI models together with traditional detection technologies and then human oversight. That combination helps ensure decisions are made with proper context, accuracy, and then real user impact in mind, not just automation for the sake of automation. All right, so talking about the multi-layer approach to AI, we're not just talking about an AI model that is bolting into our endpoint and calling it just next-gen security. Behind the scenes, our hybrid cloud technologies constantly collecting and analyzing telemetry from more than 100 million sensors worldwide in real time. So when a new threat comes, it's identified through our AI models. That intelligence can be shared across entire ecosystems within seconds. We also have advanced AI threat defense, which we automatically sandbox suspicious files, and then we use machine learning to analyze the behaviors that the file is trying to do. Pretty much that allows us to quickly determine whether something is malicious and we could also deliver a verdict within 5 minutes or less. And this isn't something new for ESET. We're actually been using neural network deep learning since 1997. Our models have been trained on billions of malware samples over the years, which allows us to detect threats based on code structure and then behavior intent. We're not just relying on hashes or signature alone. On top of that, ESET's EDR is continuously monitoring behavior directly on the endpoint. It correlates process activity, register changes, file actions, and then the network communication just to help identify post-compromise activity that traditional security tools can miss. And when you combine all of that with our 24/7 MDR service, you're getting both AI-driven threat hunting and real human expertise. Our analysts investigate suspicious activities, and then within 6 minutes, we are able to contain an attack. If you're not an ESET customer yet, but you want to check the skill output you're getting from using an AI tool, we do have a free AI skill checker where you could just paste a URL and use our technology so you could go ahead and see if the AI skill that you're using is safe. All right, so please check us out. All right, so to wrap these things up, AI is clearly changing the threat landscape on both sides. On the negative side, attackers are not using AI to make cyber attacks faster, more scalable, and then harder to detect. We're seeing more convincing phishing attempts, AI-generated disinformation, and deepfakes, and even increased risks around physical cyber attacks targeting IoT and then connected environments. But at the same time, AI is also becoming one of our biggest advantages for defenders. AI allows security teams to improve behavior detection, identify suspicious activity much faster, and then automate a lot of the manual work that normally slows teams down. It also helps accelerate incident response, which is critical because speed matters the most in cybersecurity. The faster you can detect, investigate, and respond, the smaller the impact becomes. So really, the takeaway is AI itself is not good or bad. It's just a tool. And the organizations that learn how to use AI effectively for defense are going to be in a much stronger position moving forward. Like Sun Tzu said, in the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity. So how does this relate? While the rapid advancements in AI may feel disrupted and even chaotic at times, they do open the door to significant innovations and meaningful improvements across the cybersecurity landscape. So I would like to thank you for attending today. And if you do want to learn more about our cybersecurity products, please let us know. Thank you very much.
All right. If anybody has any questions, then now is the time. Put them all in the chat. I was thinking when I was on this call listening to guys and looking at like who's attending here. I mean, we have people, from the housing authority, health, gaming, casino. Like there's all those different verticals that everyone. Some of these technology leaders have to navigate multiple. Some of them are just one. You know what I mean? Are there any unique security challenges that you guys have seen with the tribes that you work with in those specific environments? No, no one. Okay. What about you, Kayla and Jesus? Have you guys seen anything? Working with tribes for so long. I know that you guys work with quite a few tribes, so I just wondered maybe you can answer.
Do you want me to go first, Jesus, or you want to take this
Yeah,
one?
go ahead, Kayla.
My response would be, so for me, being in, technical product marketing, mine is more of like what I'm seeing in research versus directly working with the customer. And in the research, it shows like the response time, right? We saw the 241-day number. It takes longer to identify the threat versus containing. So out of that 241 number, I think it's like 174 days, somewhere around there. That's how long it took to identify. So before you even found out, because the threat's like dormant in the network. And then it's the additional days to once you've identified it, okay, now how do I contain it? A lot of times containing it is like ripping those machines offline and then figuring out what your next plan of action is going to be. So for me, it's that like the response time to be able to identify and contain a threat. And I think that's why a lot of businesses are leaning a lot more on MDR services these days because, even though I showed in the 4 examples of challenges that tribal communities face, realistically, everyone's challenge is money right now. Like budgets are being slashed all around. And the more cost-effective way to reach that time of identifying and containing is to invest in like an MDR type service that has a quick response time because you're not having to hire train your internal security team or hire a SOC team. It's a lot cheaper to invest in like a vendor to do that for you and you rely and like leave that hard work on the vendor. So that would be my answer for that.
I do have one comment. One of the things that we focus here at ESET is being your cybersecurity partner and not just adding you just one more number to our account. So one of the things when I go to the TribalHub events, one of the things that the tribes tell me or the security analysts tell me is that yeah, our current cybersecurity partner or the one that we're currently partnered with, they just treat us a number, and we don't do that. We don't do that over here. You will be a partner for us. So that's one of the biggest challenges I see right now. A lot of
Mhm.
ways that we hear that, and actually, my one of my friends just told me yesterday that he's working with the tribe because they see him as a number and they don't see him as a partner. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I know you talked about a lot of, how ransomware is still like the number one, thing that, everyone's talking about. Have you guys seen any trends or threats that are like under discussed that you're like, oh my gosh, this should be on someone's radar, but we're not even talking about it because we're so focused on, this? Have you seen either of you two seen anything like that?
Yes.
Mm,
Or sorry, Jesus. For
no, go
me, it's
ahead. Go
like,
ahead. No, go
You're
ahead.
so excited about it.
I mean, I don't know if I should be. For me, the thing that came up today,
Mhm.
amongst my team that we'll need to we're going to need to do a lot more research on this one, but there's a huge increase in spike in shadow AI. So this is like unauthorized AI usage on corporate machines. This
Yeah.
might be everyone's reality, like
Mhm.
even in this room here, is stopping like those internal employees and just the workforce from using unauthorized AI tools.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, because every vendor has got like a protocol or like a process of doing some kind of security check to vet the AI tool you want to use before you're able to use it, right? There's corporate enterprise versions of AI tools like Copilot,
Hmm.
Gemini, like all of these. Um, that's a big one. I know like I was at RSA this year in March, and one of the examples that was on the main stage that a vendor spoke about was, and this is not to say this AI tool is bad in any way. It's just the company was using Notebook LLM as an example. It was the sales team of the company that was using this tool and, working fast and sending out emails to prospect customers and things like that. The vendor discussed not knowingly sending a phishing link to a prospect customer just because they copied and paste an output from this AI tool to the customer. And so that's an example of like shadow AI and shadow AI threats of these AI tools also being maliciously used, like Jesus kind of talked about earlier, to spread malware. So it's like our biggest threat, but also our biggest asset because we need to be using these tools to stay up to date. So,
Mhm.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. We just got a question in on the Q&A asking, how does ESET handle other telemetry outside of EDR?
How does ESET handle all telemetry outside of EDR?
Hmm.
So, and for that, we use what is called ESET LiveGrid. That is where all our information, any data is collected from our endpoints, from our sensors, from everything that we have globally, it goes
Hmm.
into our ESET LiveGrid. And then that's how our pretty much our AI models handle all that data. Because like Kayla mentioned, we get like millions of data daily. And
Hmm.
there's no matter how many humans we have reading through all that data, we need AI to analyze and then see what is real and what's not. So ESET LiveGrid will be our technology that we use to pretty much handle all that data, ingest it, and then give our researchers something that, hey, this is something malicious. This is something that is benign. You don't have to deal with that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then a combination of that and our, I mentioned earlier, 850 technology experts that we have around the globe working in these various R&D centers, um, they're also like their job is to be searching the dark web and like the market, not just evaluating all those suspicious samples, but also to be hunting and looking for things. And we didn't talk about this very much today, but we also have threat intelligence that we sell at ESET, cyber threat intelligence. So that's a whole nother level of like telemetry that we offer too in various forms where it's like potentially unwanted, feeds are available, IP feeds. So if you're looking to enhance your like hardware-based firewalls,
Yeah.
to stay ahead. So we've got the threat intel telemetry, and then, like Jesus mentioned, telemetry that we're collecting from our over 1 billion users around the world. And that's what's really nice is that some vendors only do business in North America. And so that's kind of limiting in terms of telemetry because you might not be getting that intelligence from the more like attacked areas or areas in the world that are creating and generating malware.
Mhm.
And we have R&D centers that are kind of located closely in all of those areas around the globe.
Mhm.
Yeah, being in Slovakia, which is a country in Europe, it really opens that door that we could pretty much get telemetry from those places and then enhance anybody here in the US. I had a partner a few weeks ago that he was telling me that, hey, like we cannot drop your threat intelligence because this, and that. We collect data from the US, but the telemetry that you guys give us is so unique, is so accurate that we don't have to just see what data is benign, which data is false positives. The data you give us, over 90% or more than 90%, is something that I could take action right. I could go ahead and create playbooks, and the data you're giving me, I could automatically start blocking those IPs because that's how curated that data is that you guys are providing us.
Mhm. Okay, cool. We did just get another question in, and they're asking, how does your platform protect tribal data in a way that preserves the ownership and values of tribal communities?
I'll take a stab at this one and then Jesus, if you want to add on to
Yeah.
anything. But during the installation of our product, you are able to choose a local data center where information is transmitted. So that's one way where even though our headquarters is based in Slovakia in Europe, um, the data center is not located there, right? So that I know that could be a concern at times.
Mhm.
The other thing is we do have the options for we're still one of the very few vendors that supports on-premise. So if like totally air gap like uh on-prem environment is what you're looking for, what you still have, we have solutions that still protect that. I will say those solutions do at times get limited in features, because the cloud features are what allows us to have more of that AI-enabled detection technology. However, if on-prem is like one of those things that you're looking for, we do have solutions that are available for that as well.
Mhm. I would like to add to what Caleb mentioned. So last week, one a big client of ours was telling us that they want to move to cloud, and then they were concerned about our pretty much their data because currently they're on-prem. They want to move to cloud, and I did tell them that at least here in NORAM, there's really nobody that will have access to your data. Like there's really, really selected amount of people that could go ahead and go behind the scenes and see what what you have on your cloud instance. Like Kayla mentioned, we do have pretty much databases or data centers across the globe. So at least here in the US, we do have a couple of data centers where if you select US data center, all your data will remain here. And then there's really just selected amount of people that will have access to that data. At least here in NORAM, every US employee doesn't have access to that data. It's not like I could go see what are your computer names, which your domains, IPs, all that information. We don't have access to that. That's how much HU has locked it down. So keep that in mind. We do have privacy and all that good stuff that we could send you if you're interested in that.
Yeah. And then one more thing I just thought of that I value being in product marketing is um, we do take product improvement seriously, and it doesn't go into like this black hole that you never hear about anymore. Um, so if you're, a partner or vendor with, or a partner or customer of ours, and there's something that we're lacking or a feature that could be improved in some kind of way for your concerns, your privacy concerns, our process is once that's submitted to your account manager, it actually lands on our table in technical product marketing, and we send it up to the product managers to make sure that it can go on our roadmap with a timeline. So that's something that I value too, is that we actually take those that feedback and like enhancements serious to improve our product and put it on the roadmap.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any more questions coming through, but I'd like to close out by maybe if Kayla and Jesus, if you could, tell the folks on the call today what is one thing that you hope that they take away from this webinar?
Yeah, for me, I'm probably gonna steal Jesus's comment earlier. Sorry, Jesus, you're gonna have to come up with another one, which is which is that, you know, with ESET, you're not a number, right? We're here to make sure that you have everything that you need. And we understand that budget is could probably be um, an uncertainty thing on your mind, but we have like nice comprehensive features that can check a lot of boxes for the right price for you. And so if you just like let us know what you're thinking, or like what your um hopes are, and like also what your goals are for your business. So like I know one person mentioned Navajo Housing Authority. So like what are your goals within the next year or three to expand, or like where you want to get to, and we'll figure out how to help you to meet those goals. So that's what I would want to, that's my last parting
Mhm.
words.
For me, is pretty much when I first started ESET, I was gonna do 1 or 2 years and then just move on. I've been with ESET now 8 years, and I'm still here because I see how the company takes care of not only their own people in-house, but also our partners and then our customers. So I see that, and again, what Kayla just mentioned is being your cybersecurity partner, and that's what I like. I want to make sure that you're just not one more number to us, and we could go ahead and build the relationship. And I mean, at least with the new tribe that we brought in, that's how we've been with them. We could. I was when is it December? I was December 31st. One of their guys was in San Diego. I was in San Diego, and I was like, hey, let's go ahead and meet. And I'm like, I told my wife, and she was like, it's fine, go ahead. And we went and had a breakfast, you know. So that's the type of things that I asked my boss, is that fine with you? He was like, go ahead, by all means. So that's why I value, and that's why I'm still with DSET. And again, if you do want to have that with me, let me know. I'm always open for something like that.
Awesome. Well, you too, thank you so much. And if I wanted to say also, if anyone on the call has been to any of our 7 regional events, ESET and SHI were at many of them. So I'm sure some of you had a chance to talk to them. But if not, I'm glad we were on the call today. Great information. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. Anybody who had registered for the webinar, you'll receive an email tomorrow with a link to this recording that you can share with anybody on your team, and it will also live on our YouTube channel and on our website. So with that, if you have any other questions, please reach out to us at tribalhub.com or contact us at tribalhub.com. And Jesus, Kayla, thank you so much, and have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.